It's a terrible football show. What do you expect?
I want whatever you guys are smoking right now.
Just in my brain, it just makes so much sense.
OH!
Oh, baby,
go.
yeah!
You have no quarterback. You're going to need some punters.
Welcome to a terrible football show.
That's my quarterback and my teammate, man.
Ruins my fucking holiday every damn year.
Alex,
What up?
you could thoroughly kiss my ass.
If it's Toledo, I'm drawing the best damn rocket there is out there.
Now that's gonna look like a dildo.
I told my HR director about this show. He's going to listen to it.
They draft Xavier Worthy. What the fuck? Wide receiver from Texas.
Fucking hamster.
It's a hamster mixed in with a sheep.
The Buffalo Hamsters have traded.
Listen, guys, this is a terrible football show where everybody may be good at nothing, but we are terrible at everything.
That's facts. That's a clip for the intro.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
That's a clip for the intro, baby. Yeah, he's successful at just giving his terrible opinions, so why can't I? Terrible football show, after all. Welcome to the Terrible Football Show. It is October 22nd, 2024. This is episode 114. I'm Alex Sparky. Hope you're having a phenomenal day today, whatever day you're watching or listening to this show. Got a couple of the boys here to start the show. We might have Jacob come in, I'm not sure. And then Tyler, I know, is off at a concert, so shout out to that. Let's go around the room. Shane, how you doing, buddy? Welcome back.
Pretty good. I apologize for not being on the show last week. I completely overslept and didn't wake up until about midnight.
I knew it. I knew you were asleep.
Yeah, dude.
That's a Shane move right there.
Working the hours that I've been working, dude, Tuesdays are just a complete loss for me. Like, I don't have the motivation to do anything. So
I feel that.
Like, even today, I fell asleep at like 2 o'clock. Luckily, I woke up at 5:30 and was like, oh, I get the show today.
Yep.
So,
trust me, I feel that, man. Still start of the week, kind of shaking off the early week rust, whatever. Just a little tired. Trust me, I feel you. We got Ricky here, but he's on mute. I'm not sure if he's available. So, Ricky, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, how you doing, buddy?
I'm just putting myself on mute just in case I cough a lung up like I've been doing all day.
Feel that. I feel that. You're.
Yeah, we are less than 3 weeks away from tip-off.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you got an exciting time coming up for you, Mr. Basketball Coach.
That's right. A lot of work to do still. Yeah, I think we'll be all right eventually.
Hey.
We got to get better in some areas.
Well, there you go. I think we can also say that about a lot of teams around the game that we love and want to talk about here today, and that being the NFL and college football, just the wonderful game of football. There's a lot of teams that probably get better in a lot of areas. So we're going to chat about a lot of different things today. Literally, as the show was starting live, where you can watch us live at ATSN and at Terrible Football Show, I literally had to change the title. And I'm going to have to go back and change the thumbnail too, because I did not see the news until just now when I was hopping on fantasy and see that Jaden Daniels is out. So I had the title as the joke of Manning and Brady 2.0 starts this weekend, being Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams just messing around, just talking shit, whatever. Did not see Jaden Daniels is probably out this weekend. So just saw that, just randomly changed the title. It's now just a terrible football show in the date. So it's whatever. I'll change the title depending on what we talk about the most. I guess we'll see. But there is some decent amount of things to talk about. Stuff coming up this weekend. We got a good slate of games, especially on the college level. Going through all the predictions, get them set for Run Your Pool. A lot of good games this weekend. NFL kind of weak this weekend. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. NFL slate kind of booty this weekend. It's kind of crap. So shout out to that. But good college slate this upcoming weekend. We got a lot of games and a lot of conversations to talk about from this past weekend that was. And of course, if you could, make sure to join the Discord, be a friend, tell a friend, check out some Rogue Energy and Agent Ink in the description below. And make sure to check out Patreon, because here's the one thing you need to remember about this show. We almost got sued by a major publication company. Can you say that about the other shows you listen to? Probably not. So that's something that we can hold to our chest as a little badge of honor.
I mean, we're in great company, right? It's like us and Pat McAfee.
I know. We are in great company. A couple of terrible shows that both almost got sued.
Yep.
Almost got sued. So shout out to that. Shout out to that. Shout out to Tyler in chat. Hopefully you're having a good night, my friend. Hopefully you have a great night. Shane and Ricky, let's jump into some NFL today. I want to start off with some NFL. There's a lot of different conversations to be had around the NFL. I don't know what's the hottest one. First, let me ask you guys a question, because like I was seeing this all day today, and it's just like some of this just sounds just so stupid. Are you guys buying into any of the conversation that the Rams are like trying to trade Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp? You know, more specifically, like, so part one of this question is, do you buy into any of that conversation at all? And part two of that conversation, do you buy into this stupid rumor that Matt Stafford and the Vikings are close to trading? Because like that is the dumbest shit in my opinion with how Sam Darnold's played. Like I'm not buying into that in the slightest. I don't care if it's Kevin O'Connell's the head coach and he's got connections to the Rams. I don't buy that shit. What's you guys' take on all this Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp trade talks?
I mean, Matthew Stafford, I don't believe it. I don't think it's more of a thing of the Rams aren't interested in trading him. I can see that being the case, especially when you got a quarterback like Michael Penix that's playing right now due to injury, but I mean, he's technically a backup.
Michael
right?
Penix, what the heck? What are you talking about?
Hey, Michael Penix to LA could be a great fit. Who knows?
Bro,
okay?
he's set in Atlanta.
But anyways, but what I'm more interested in, I think there's real talks for Cooper Kupp.
I can see the Cooper Kupp one. I can see that one.
Especially with the receiver market how it is right now. I could definitely see it.
I just find it hard to believe this conversation of Stafford to Minnesota. That, like, I just find it hard to believe on Minnesota's part. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm just like baffled of like, why would Minnesota even entertain that? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I get it's Matthew Stafford, but you got a guy who's balling out and you already have your franchise guy, presumably. Like, I don't know. I it's hard for me to buy into that. You know, the Cooper Kupp thing, I can buy into that 100%. But the Stafford thing, I can't make any sense of it personally. Like, can Stafford potentially get traded? I mean, maybe, but not to the Vikings. That just doesn't make sense to me. Ricky, what about you?
I mean, I could see Cooper Kupp being traded to the Vikings. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they try to get rid of both of them to the Vikings one bit. But I think they're in a situation right now where they're kind of in a lose-lose situation because you're paying a buttload for a quarterback. You're paying a buttload for Cooper Kupp. And then Sam Darnold, of course, you mentioned Sam Darnold. He's balling out a little bit. Sorry about that, y'all. Been coughing up a lung. I think one of the things that you could make an argument for is the fact is that LA is probably looking to start over. They have a terrible offensive line, as we've seen this year. Their offense has not produced even with Stafford in the lineup. So yeah, I could see them. I could see them trading. I could honestly see them. I lean more toward Kupp going to Minnesota than I do Stafford, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they tried to get some kind of package deal to get them both. Just for the simple fact is that Minnesota is looking to be even more of a threat than what they already are. I understand that they had their first loss this past weekend, but if I'm Minnesota, I keep doing what I'm doing right now and not worry about trying to get more weapons around you. Whatever they're doing is working just fine. But it's a business. You got to sell seats too.
Yeah, I will say for the Cooper Kupp thing, there's been no conversation around the teams. So like Minnesota and Kupp haven't necessarily been connected, but who knows? They might be. You know, especially if the rumor is true and Stafford to Minnesota is a conversation, because that's the one that's the conversation. The rumor at the moment is Stafford, Minnesota, which I just can't buy into that shit. But Cooper Kupp, I mean, I could see him going to a lot of different teams, you know, a lot of different wide receiver needy teams. I mean, heck, could we see Cooper go to Tampa Bay after what happened to Chris Godwin, which also, I mean, just that's just brutal for Chris, man.
Can they afford him?
Now, see, that's a good question. I mean, I haven't looked at Tampa Bay cap space. Let's take a look at it. Let's do some Googling here, some fact checking. Let's see, Tampa Bay Bucks cap space. I don't even know what Kupp's hit is. So, overthecap.com. Let's take a look. Let's see. It looks like 10 mil available. So I mean, they could probably mess around a little bit. You know, it's not a lot, but they could definitely mess around a little bit to it ultimately depends on what Cup's cap hit number is.
Right now, so I just Googled it. It says Cup will count for $29.8 million against the cap
Yep,
this
that's
season.
not happening.
And $27.3 million in 2025. The Rams would save $7.5 million cap space if they cut him after the 2026 season, and $19.9 million if they cut him before the 2027 season.
Right.
So cap it's just under 30 mil.
Yeah, so with that kind of cap space, man, I'm wondering who would even want to swing for that. I mean, I understand Cooper Kupp is a damn good receiver when he's healthy, but man, who would be willing to swing for that? You know what I mean? Like you look at, who's got the cap space or something like that. I mean, shit, they're not going to trade in the division to the 49ers.
Well, something else you also take consideration. He may be willing to restructure his contract, considering that he would be leaving LA. LA's
expensive.
Excuse me. California is one of the highest. I'm sorry. California is the highest state tax rate in the United States.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility he would take a restructure just to save a few bucks on a different team.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. I mean, like, there could be some finagling that could get done to make it happen. But I mean, like the top 5 teams, right, with cap space is 49ers at 54. That's not happening. Browns at 45, Patriots 36, Lions 27, Commanders 24. Man, imagine if he goes to the Commanders, pair him up with Jaden Daniels, give Jaden Daniels another weapon. Man, that'd be something to watch. But no, I mean, like, with how the Rams are kind of going at the moment, I can definitely see the possibility of that. I mean, the Rams only have $2 million cap space, right? I mean, the Rams are just not in a good spot, in terms of where their cap is currently. And even where it's going to be, next year goes up quite a bit in terms of what they have available. But it's like, with where the Rams are as a team right now, I can definitely see Kupp being like that potential dangling target. I mean, they got Puka, who has been phenomenal for him, with the exception of injury. So I could see that being a thing. So it's I don't know, something to watch, something to keep an eye on. But a couple things to shout out also that's happened within the last hour is one, Alvin Kamara got a 2-year extension for $25 million. Shout out to that. And two, apparently Andy Dalton was involved in a car accident. Nothing major though. Apparently his wife, 3 kids, family dog was in the vehicle. No one had to go to the hospital, but the Panthers medical personnel are evaluating Dalton. So it doesn't sound too serious. So that's good. Happy to hear that. And again, also shout out to, again, Chris Godwin. I mean, that was a brutal injury, especially since he just got back. You know what I mean? Just got back, really becoming himself again. Just brutal. Another brutal injury took place this weekend. Kind of curious you guys' thoughts on this. Deshaun Watson. The unfortunate torn Achilles injury, man. Hate to see that for anyone. But how you guys?
Yeah, he's done.
How you guys feeling about the Browns and the Browns fans and everything? Like, just overall, how are we feeling about it?
So one thing, the reports that I'm seeing, it's not a torn Achilles, it's
ruptured,
a ruptured Achilles.
Ruptured, yeah.
So and then on top of that, like, I hate anybody to get hurt, right? Regardless of the situation, regardless of who it is. To get hurt in a non-contact way like that, like, we all know as football fans, that non-contact injuries are 9 times out of 10 going to be 10 times worse than anything that contact can do, on the exception of something that we did see from Chris Godwin, right? But at the end of the day, like, Deshaun depends on his mobility. Unless, I mean, we've seen it from Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's very rare that you come back from a torn or a ruptured Achilles injury and have the same kind of production with your legs that is required from a player like that, right? And I think we can all 3 agree Deshaun Watson's not exactly the pocket presence passer that, he necessarily could be, but he's just not that type of quarterback. That's not his skill set. Now, could he? Yeah, of course. I mean, if he wants to put in the work and do that, but even in Houston, his game was extending plays, getting out of the pocket, throwing downfield. It's going to be very hard to do that coming back from this Achilles injury. I wish the best for him, regardless of the situation, but I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, I don't think we will ever see Deshaun Watson play for the Cleveland Browns ever again. I think he's done. There's a possibility he will end his career. When you go down with a ruptured Achilles, I don't like. It's like I said, it's still a pretty bad injury. It's a gruesome, gruesome recovery to come from. He is still young enough to where he could pull off something like Aaron Rodgers did, but like we've seen Aaron Rodgers this year, he's not the same as what he was before. And I stated that last year whenever whenever he did go down, and I never bought in that he was going to come back any earlier than this coming season. And I told you guys we would not see Aaron Rodgers be the Aaron Rodgers that we know and have grown up to see. Deshaun Watson, I truth be told, there's a possibility he's done for good, and I hate it for him because, he was given this, he was given this second chance, regardless of how what he's done in his personal life, and because you guys know I've been brutal on the guy, but I don't wish anybody any ill will in any kind of injury whatsoever. And then you also have to look at the Browns fan base, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous you're going to cheer when someone gets injured. I hope they never win a game again. That's how bad that's how bad I have toward the Cleveland Brown fan base, which is very, very little anyway. I think the Vanderbilt Commodores have more fans than the Cleveland Browns do at this point, to tell you the truth. So I'm just saying, like, in general, I hate it for the guy. I don't see him playing it down in the NFL again. I could be wrong, but that's a gruesome injury, especially no for a quarterback. Because like Shane said, he is a mobile quarterback. He's not used to just playing the pocket, and I don't know if another team is going to be willing to take a chance on that contract that he's on. Plus, the simple fact is that um, plus taking on the injury that he's taken on, it's a very, very high risk, especially when we haven't seen him be on his prime level in quite a long time. I hate it for him, but I think he's done.
So there are certain elements to what you're saying that I'm going to disagree with you, but for the 90% of it, I'm going to agree with you. In terms of like him being done with the Browns, I agree. I think that was the last time you're going to see him in a Browns uniform. Like, next season, he's going to be somewhere else. Now, in terms of never playing it down again in the NFL, in terms of a health standpoint, I would disagree with you because, like, it was said he was going to make a full recovery, so he should be fine to come back like next year or something. But the thing that I'm thinking about is like, even if the Browns cut him and he can be signed somewhere, who wants to sign him? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I would, with how he's played, that's where my brain goes. It's not from an injury standpoint, he's not coming back, but like, he's obviously not going to be a Brown after this. This is the Browns out. The Browns want to get rid of him, because he hasn't panned out. But like just how he has played, who would want to sign him? You know what I mean? Like maybe as a backup, sure. But who's going to want to try to sign him to be a starter? Like, look at the landscape of the NFL right now, right? Right now, quarterback landscape. The teams that pop in your head who's going to potentially or for sure need a QB next year. Out of those teams, who would actually sign Deshaun Watson? Answer me that question, because I don't know who it'd be.
I don't think anybody would sign him because you have why take a risk when you're the top 5 or 6 teams that need a quarterback right now? Why take a chance on Deshaun when you can just build from the draft?
Yep.
Or try and trade for try to trade for a cheaper, quarterback that's currently a backup.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 options there that have a better upside than taking a risk on an injured Deshaun Watson, who, frankly, this season, we have not seen him play up to where he's been previously.
Yeah. Because, like, that's my thing about it, is, like, injury-wise, I think he can come back and play, right? It's just, with the situation of how he's played, the whole situation in Cleveland, like, he's gone. So it's like, again, I don't know who's going to sign him. Like, that's my thing about it.
And I want to kind of reiterate it, because like I said before, the injury is a huge deal. He's not going to be the same.
True.
But yes, you basically added on what I wanted to say as well, because I don't know if anyone's going to be willing to take a risk on him. And I'm not talking about just the injury. I'm also talking about his personal life, because there are still allegations that have come out here recently that I'm sure that he is going to end up settling, or some legal issue that it will come out again. So I'm just saying, from a personal standpoint, I don't see anybody taking that risk. You could see him as a backup somewhere, but then again, it's like, who's going to be willing to take that kind of a risk especially considering the way that he's played this year. Um, it's bad. It's just really, really bad. And I'll go ahead and call it right now. Minshew Mania come to Cleveland.
Oh, here we go, baby. He'll run wild over there.
I will root for Cleveland if they get Minshew Mania. That I will root for Cleveland.
Hey, that's gonna be
The thing
Jameis's
is,
Winston's show.
Like at this point, if I'm a quarterback, like I would rather go play with the UFL or CFL before I go to the Cleveland Browns.
Do you feel that same way about the Carolina Panthers?
No,
What?
I don't actually.
What?
And this is why. And this is why. It's very like no. Are Carolina going to get rid of Tepper anytime soon?
No.
Probably not. But what is the more likely case? Carolina getting rid of Tepper, or them getting rid of Stefanski and completely reorganizing that whole entire organization? Because we saw it last year in the late season and playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco fit that offense.
Sure.
He did everything that you want from that offense. He's the only quarterback besides Baker Mayfield that even played up to some kind of standard in that offense. But yet, because you made the bad decision and not signing Flacco and retaining Deshaun, now you're in a situation where you're playing a second-year Dorian Thompson or a Jameis Winston.
You gotta go, Jameis, man.
So here's the thing, though, Shane. Before you move on, there's something that I want to add on to what you just said. The biggest issue is because the way Joe Flacco's played, the way he played last year, he was probably going to want a whole lot more money than what he was actually making with the Cleveland Browns, and then you would be stuck with not one but two contracts that are significantly higher for quarterbacks than what meets the eye. So I think keeping Joe was the last thing on their mind, especially because they're paying Deshaun Watson so much money. It's got to be one of the worst NFL contracts I've ever seen in my life. It's that bad.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is, like, in a situation in Carolina, all you have to do is get rid of pretty much maybe 3 or 4 guys max, right? And then you're right back on track on getting the ships turned to the right direction. Cleveland's situation has been like this for 25 plus years. At least Carolina's been to a Super Bowl. They've been to NFC Championship games. Like, they've been there, done that. When was the last time Cleveland was in an AFC Championship game?
God, it was like the 80s, wasn't it?
So
I think so.
Like 87 sticks out to me. Let's see if I got that right.
So I mean, there's gonna have to be giant turnaround in the Cleveland Browns office, front office, and coaching staff.
Let's go.
In order to get that ship turned the right way, and frankly, I don't think it's going to be happening in the next 5 years. So, yes, at this point, I'd much rather go to Carolina and wait out these next 2-3 bad years. Eventually, they're going to get tired of Tepper, and he's going to move on. Regardless, we've seen it. Like, enough happens, they're going to get rid of him. It may not be anytime soon, but 3 years compared to what could be Cleveland's next 15.
True.
That's an easy choice for me.
Also, it was 87. It was the 87 season, so year 88. Look at that. Boom. That was the fumble. That's where they lost to the Broncos when apparently the Browns running back fumbled at the goal line. So that was the last time the Browns went to an AFC Championship game. Might have been one of the only times they've been. I'm not sure on that one. So yeah, no, I mean, I see what you're saying about Carolina. My big thing, as long as David Tepper's the owner of Carolina, it's tough for me to see them ever becoming anything. Because like, I look at that, Shane, from the standpoint of being a Jaguars fan. Like, Shad Khan, as long as he wants his fingers in the football operations, the Jags are never going to be successful. I'm just sorry, they're not.
The Khans need their finger off of football and of wrestling. That's how terrible it is.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So I mean, that's why like I look at the Carolina thing from a different lens. Like, I feel like if they just have David Tepper and you just had someone who wasn't impatient, I feel like Carolina could grow. You know what I mean? If you just didn't have someone so damn impatient. I don't know. That's wild. I was going to ask you guys, because I saw this, little rumor here is apparently some league personnel hoping that the Panthers are considering trading Bryce Young per Diana Rossini. What are the chances you could think Bryce Young could get traded? What's you guys' thoughts on this? Because it feels like they're already done with him, in my opinion.
That's a 100% chance because he's not going to play another down in Carolina. It was just here's the thing. It sucks because it's good for him to be traded. I called this at the beginning of the summer. It's good for him to be traded and go elsewhere where he could play a backup position and be able to learn the game. He's not going to be successful in Carolina because Carolina's franchise just sucks that bad right now, and it's absolute garbage. And I hate it for the kid, but I also love it for the kid because I think there is somewhere that he will fit in. He may not be a superstar or anything like that, but I think he could be able to fit in somewhere.
I got a pitch. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this pitch. Bryce Young, Los Angeles Rams.
No.
What? You are out of your mind. Out of your damn mind.
No.
You are out of your mind.
No. No. If they get rid of Matt Stafford, no.
No. This is under the assumption they're not getting rid of Stafford.
Okay, then yes.
Okay, all right, there we go.
It'd be pointless. It'd be pointless for them to trade. It'd be pointless for him to go to the Rams if Matt Stafford's gone.
Even if Stafford's gone, like let's say he retires, Bryce Young to the Rams.
No.
Yes.
No.
You are out of your mind. Established run game, solid receivers, defense to back you up. Offensive line needs help. Great offensive-minded coach. You're out of your mind.
No, they don't have an offensive.
Yeah, I just said they got to build the line, but I mean, come on now, that'd be a fit.
No, absolutely not. No.
Sean McVay, Bryce Young, winning combination. No. Super Bowl, book it.
No, they're not. No.
Where's Jacob? I need him to write it on the board.
You are out of your mind. Yes, make sure Jacob puts that on the board. Bryce Young, the Rams. So that way, 3 years down the road, when the Rams go 3-14 with Bryce Young as their starting quarterback, you'll be able to look back and be like, "Oh, Ricky was right." Hell no, you ain't gonna put him in L.A.
Shane, you're the deciding factor. Which way are you leaning, buddy?
Bryce to L.A.
Let's go.
You're fucking out of your mind. Bryce will come to the Dallas Cowboys before he goes to L.A.
That's probably true.
No. Look. I think of this as a teaching thing, right? And I'll use this as a prime example. Who do you want to develop a quarterback? Sean McVay, who's proven to do so in every scenario that he's ever been a part of. 9 out of 10 times. Okay, I'll change that. Not every single, but 9 out of 10 times. Or Mike McCarthy, who got rid of 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks because he has personal issues with them, and then now is babying a mediocre quarterback and decided to pay him $60 million.
Okay, so who did Mike McCarthy get rid of?
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
He didn't get rid of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was gone 2 years ago. McCarthy was already gone before Rodgers left.
Yeah, that was LaFleur.
Well,
and Brett Favre's situation was totally different from what Aaron Rodgers was. Brett Favre was on the way out. He had a foot out years before he left. So no, I don't blame Mike McCarthy on that one. No, there was a whole lot more going on with Brett Favre than what met the eye. And if you've seen his post-retirement, the way he's been in his post-retirement, the way he is personally, he's not an easy person to deal with. He's probably just as hard, if not harder, to deal with than what Aaron Rodgers is.
I just rather like in a development stage, if I'm choosing between those two guys, I'm taking Sean McVay 9 out of 10 times.
I agree.
I'm just saying, there's more of a chance the Cowboys get him than what LA gets.
You guys
him.
have your future superstar with Trey Lance. You're okay. You already have a top 5 pick in Trey Lance. You're fine.
Absolutely not. I heard somebody else tell me that the other day. I wonder where Trey Lance is now. He's at the Cowboys. Oh, he's screwed. That's exactly what they said. Their words out of their mouth.
No, in all honesty, I do genuinely think like a Bryce Young going to a situation with one of these extremely talented guys on the offensive side of the ball, like a Sean McVay or something. You know, obviously a lot of those spots are kind of filled. Like you could say like Kyle Shanahan or whatever, but obviously he's got his guy. But what I'm saying is just in general, a super offensive-minded guy like that, just an offensive genius. Hey, man, Bryce Young, Los Angeles Rams have proven that they are the mindset of fuck them picks. So I'm just saying.
He would be better off going to the Chargers than what he would the Rams.
Relax. They have, they're fine with Herbert. Let's calm down. Yeah, the Rams have a very clear the Rams have a very clear opening at quarterback within the next 3 years. That's why I'm pitching Young to the Rams. Let's go. Within the next 3 years, maybe within 2 years, the Rams have a clear quarterback need, right? Perfect spot
I think it's
for
earlier
him.
than that.
I mean, I think it could be after this season. So I'm trying to be a little optimistic here. I don't want to see Stafford go yet.
No, he's done.
Yeah,
I think this is
I know. I'm trying to be optimistic. Okay. Bryce Young to the Rams. Call it now. Super Bowl champions. So, pivoting from there, is there anything that can save this Jets season?
Yes, Aaron Rodgers retired. Never play football again. Get out. Done. Absolutely donezo. It's got to be the worst he's ever been in his entire career. That's saying a lot. It's that
is
bad.
Yeah.
I watched the second half of this football game, and it was absolutely horrible. Did not even recognize who was on the field. It was that bad. And I understand that they just got Devontae Adams. It's going to take them a while to figure that stuff out. I get all that. But the fact of the notion is that, oh, my God, he's got his receiver again. Here we go. Let's go, Jets. No, the Jets are the Jets because they are the Jets. It's just like the Cowboys are the Cowboys because they're the Cowboys. The Jets suck just bad. They are horrible. Absolute, complete, utter garbage with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I told y'all 2 years ago this is a bad move. Still a bad move. Get rid of him. Start over and just let him go out of town. Let him retire. Just let him go to that hole that he goes in and the little retreat in the cave or whatever it is, and just let him go. Just let him stay in there. Don't even tell him what time it is. Don't tell him what day it is. Just let him retire. It's done. It's over with. It's so bad that I had to buy into this nonsense. And and all of a sudden it's like, well, what's going on? Because he's old and because he also hurt his Achilles and he's coming back off an injury. Some people are like, oh, he'll be fine. No, he's not. He's not even close to the same. Absolute, utter garbage. He made Russell Wilson look like a superstar the other night. That's how terrible it is.
Man, do you think Aaron Rodgers will retire after this year? Because I'm kind of on the fence about it.
No, I don't think he will.
See, I'm leaning.
I don't think he'll even think about it.
I'm leaning 60-40. 60, he will not retire. Like not the question of if he should, but if he will. I'm on the 60 side of no.
I agree with Shane. I don't think he will. I don't even think he'll think about it until probably next year, if not the year after. I mean, at this point, he's LeBron James, and he's so far into the league, it's not even funny. And if he's going to stay until
okay, let's not compare Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James. LeBron James in year 22 is still a top 3 player in the league.
No, he's not.
I wouldn't say top 3, but he's still a damn good player.
He literally had a statistic, like one of his best statistical seasons last year in year 21. Like, what are you talking about?
Stop it.
He may not be a top 3. He may not be a top 3 player, but he's a top 10 player for sure.
It's because they don't play defense in the NBA. Stop it.
Welcome to a terrible basketball show. Coming to all platforms near you. Oh, jeez.
You can't tell me that LeBron James has not overstayed his welcome in the NBA. No one can convince me of it either. I don't care what the stats say. No one can convince me that he's not overstayed his welcome in the NBA. It's done.
You're delusional. You're done.
No, it's done. He is done. Here's the thing. I would be delusional if the Lakers were still competing for championships. They stopped competing for championships 4 years ago, about to be 5 this next coming season because they're not competing for championships. That's the whole point of professional sports. You're there to compete for championships. If you're not competing for championships, get out. It's that simple. And he has not competed since 2020.
Well, then in that case, let's torch 75% of the NBA because let's be honest, any basketball player under the age of 23 don't give a fuck except for their paycheck. So
I would argue it's even higher than that, Shane. I wouldn't just continue the 23-year-olds. It's higher than that. Okay, Damian Lillard is one of them. Let's remember that. Damian Lillard is one of them. So no, yeah, they're supposed to win championships. They don't even come close.
It's even higher than that. That's probably true. Anyway, let's hop back to some football, boys. Still just kind of touching around the NFL. Let's see. Shane, shout out to your Broncos. Put the beat down on the Saints. Shout out to that. Sean Payton in his return to New Orleans. Man, the Saints, they struggled. They have struggled after that first 2 week stretch there. Dougie P did not get fired because the Jaguars actually won the game. I was convinced that if the Jaguars lost, Dougie P was going to be left in London. Drake May had a pretty solid outing, though. So shout out to that. It looks like the Patriots could actually have a guy. Shane, shout out. Seahawks got a nice little beat down, too. Man, you're rolling this week.
Yep.
Buffalo,
the
though.
thing that's crazy.
Buffalo put a beat down
The thing
on.
that's crazy. My entire football life, right, is going good except for the one that I actually
Love
110% care about.
Love,
so
the
we're
one
not
you
even going to
absolutely
discuss
love the
it. We'll
most.
just move on.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there, my friend.
Now, I will say real quick, I do want to go back to, since we're staying on NFL, I do want to say real quick, while Ricky was talking and in the mix of things, I was reading a article here about Cooper Kupp. So yeah, his cap hit is $29.8 million this season, but potential landing spots for him as reported by, I think this is
it Diana maybe?
I think so. I have to go down to the bottom and find out. But Pittsburgh Steelers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Dallas Cowboys are the three teams she said most likely to reach out about Cooper Kupp.
To Ricky over here.
We would have to get rid of CeeDee Lamb if we got him. We couldn't afford him. That's stupid.
No, so they're saying that if a deal is reached where the Rams are willing to take on at least 75% or more of his income, that would cut his cap hit down from 29.7 or 29.8 where it's at to about 9.8 million is all the Dallas would pay this year.
To me, it still doesn't make sense to me. Dallas needs a running back.
I'm telling you, Tampa. Especially after the Chris Godwin
with that offensive line, your run game is pretty much torched anyways. So why
good point.
put somebody back there just to get beat up on?
Yeah,
the Rams offensive line is the Rams offensive line is better than us at this point.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Cooper to Tampa, man. I can't remember if Baker and Cooper played together when Baker was at the Rams. I can't remember if Cooper was hurt or not.
No,
I don't think so.
No,
so he was playing because I can't remember.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Cooper. They played.
Did they?
Cooper was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't remember if he was injured or not when Baker had his little stretch. But even if they didn't play together, they probably obviously know each other. They've probably communicated, maybe worked together on playbooks and stuff and planning. So, look, man, I'm telling you, Cooper, Tampa, let's get it. Especially also, hey, I just saw this news a second ago too. Apparently, Mike Evans is going to be out until like week 11.
Yeah, he's gonna be missing 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
with hamstring.
Yeah, so Chris done for the year. Mike gone for 5-6 weeks. Tampa, make it happen. Go get Cooper Kupp. Go get a Super Bowl. Let's get it.
So I mean, you're looking at right now their top 3 receivers for Baker Mayfield. If they were not to go get Kupp, it would be Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, and Trey Palmer. Would be their top 1 through 3 receiver.
I'm telling you, it needs to happen. Cooper Kupp, Tampa. Let's manifest it. Boys, serious question. Is there a cause of concern if you were a San Francisco 49er fan?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it's just because I can't.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying the biggest thing is they can't stay healthy.
Dude.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey's probably out for the year. Who else? Ayuk is that who got injured this past week?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I think there was someone else who's out for the season. I know of at least 3, if not 4 players out for the entire season. And this is what happens when you just get banged up from playing all these years. Because remember, I don't think they're as young as what the Kansas City Chiefs are. Kansas City's still pretty young considering, the run that they've been able to make, as of late. And so, but yeah, this is what happens when you play a lot of football. You get banged up. Things like this is going to happen. But yeah, this year the writing's on the wall almost for the rest of this year for the 49ers. I don't think they have enough to even get past the first round of the playoffs at this point, even if they make the playoffs. That's how bad it is this year.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's kind of worrisome on 2 fronts, right? One, the team is not playing well right now, and on the second one, you have to worry about, regardless of how good you think Brock Purdy is or isn't. I think we all know the best player on that offensive side of the ball is Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
You got to worry about the wellness of him, and if he will ever be the same after the injury, because he's not a guy that he's been a workhorse not only in the running game but in the pass game too. So you got to really think what this what the wear and tear is going to do to him.
Right.
But you also one thing, Shane, that you forgot to mention is that Christian McCaffrey has been injury prone for most of his career. Last year, I think was the most he's played. I think in about 3 or 4 years that he's actually been able to stay healthy on the football field. So he's been quite injury prone the last few years.
And I feel like with the whole injury thing, that's been like the entire time of Shanahan's time there. Like, man, what are we doing with the staff? You know what I mean? Like, God, you need to fire some people. You need to get some new trainers in there or something. You know what I mean? Like, we got to do something.
But say at this point, you really start looking at your athletic trainers, your
for real.
nutritionist, your things like that. Like, why am I having 50% of my roster getting hurt? Before halfway through the season.
True. Is there anything else NFL wise you guys want to kind of dive into? If not, I'm gonna do a quick rundown of things and quick comments, and we'll hop over to college.
Well, I was gonna mention this. So this is all right. So this is the amount of games that 2017 through 2019 he was able to play all 16 games. 2020 and 2021 he played 3 and 7 respectively, and 2022 he played every single game. And then but he was also still with Carolina. So then in 22 he played 6 and 11 games respectively because he was traded that year in 2022. So he did get to play all 17 games. And then last year he played 16 games, which was pretty good. So like I said, for the most part, like I said, those 2 years that he was injured, 2020 and 2021. But like I said, him being banged up, it's no surprise.
Yeah, but I think right now what's worrying people is the extent of his injury, right? At first, we're like, oh, he's just gonna miss the first. Like, at first, like in the preseason, during OTAs and during the training camp or whatever, they're like, oh, he may miss the first week and then be limited the second week, but come week 3 he'll be fine.
Right.
And then, like minutes before week 1 kickoff, he was put on IR, so he was automatically out for the first 4 weeks. And then it's like, you know what? Now he's going to be on the PUP list, so who knows when he's going to be back. So it's kind of like a thing to where, like, how bad actually is this injury that's going on?
True. Because I still feel like even now we haven't gotten a whole lot of information on it. You know what I mean?
No, they've been, it's definitely been a little shady on the extent on what they've been.
I mean, hey, let's not forget how week 1 went. We didn't no one knew until like right before kickoff. So it's like, dude, you want to talk about shady, Shane? Man,
yeah,
you nailed it.
It was like what, maybe an hour, 45 minutes before kickoff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot happening over there that needs to get sorted out. That's for sure. All right.
And honestly, like, I think Brock Purdy's a great system quarterback, which I hate saying that because
come on now, dude.
Every quarterback's a system quarterback, but don't get me wrong, he's he's a good quarterback. I think he deserves to be a starter, but I mean, I'm hearing like anyway. I just don't think I think he's overhyped. I'll just leave it at that. I think he's overhyped.
Man, I'm a Brock guy. I like what Brock brings to the table.
He was Mr. Irrelevant. How is he overhyped?
Because, okay, so what by I mean overhyped, right? Yes, the things that he's done. Imagine if he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant, right? If he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant, and he was a 3rd, 4th round pick. The things he's doing, people would be more critical of the things that he's not doing rather than the things that he is doing. But because he is Mr. Irrelevant, they aren't attacking his weaknesses as much. They're only hyping up the things that he's doing great. And they're portraying him as this all-time great quarterback because he's doing all these things great. But I see a lot of flaws in his game too that nobody ever talks about.
And that's fair. That's fair. I think one thing though, Shane, that we also have to take consideration, the reason they hype him up so much, like you said, is because he is Mr. Irrelevant. We do not have very many Mr. Irrelevants that make it as long as what Brock Purdy has made it in the league. And so we have more free agents who do not get drafted, undrafted free agents who have made it in the NFL more than what Mr. Irrelevant more than what Mr. Irrelevants have made. And so that's where the push can come to shove, because we had no expectation of Brock Purdy because of his Mr. Irrelevancy, myself included. And then what he's been able to do as a 7th round quarterback, as NFL ready as he was, just look at what he's done. And that's where you take the negativity of the flaws in his game, and you kind of put that to the side and say, okay, this is what you need to do to make it better. I'm sure that's what his coaches are starting to tell him now. But he is, like I said, San Francisco, with all the injuries they have, they don't have anybody right now that's going to be able to carry them because of all their injuries. But so that part I will agree with you on, is that yes, that they do need to bring up some of that negative stuff even more. But I think for an extent, I think all of us were kind of surprised that he's lasted this long.
I mean, yeah, but let's look at it this way too, right? Let's face it, he shouldn't have been Mr. Irrelevant. This isn't a thing to where, his talent was Mr. Irrelevant, but he just worked really hard in that offseason and that time that he was behind, Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and he just worked so hard to get where he's going. No, I think it's more of a knock on talent evaluation, right? And that's not just for the 49ers, that's for the rest of the 31 teams in the NFL too, right? Not evaluating him the way that he should have been proper because of the Iowa State offense that he was in college. But where we're really going to see him evaluated is in the next coming weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Probably for the rest of the year, because he's going to be without his top stars. He's going to be without Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be out without Brandon Ayuk and some other weapons on that offensive side of the ball. I mean, we saw Purcell come back last week for maybe a catch or two or whatever. I think I had like 5 catches for like 18 yards or something like that. But at the end of the day, let's see what he does with less. That's how you can tell if a quarterback is going to be a good starting quarterback or a great starting quarterback in the NFL. How much he does with less. That's the whole portrayal of why Tom Brady is respectively the GOAT. Yeah, is because he's always done more with less.
Yeah.
That's
so when I always try to attack somebody of why Tom Brady couldn't be the GOAT, why they couldn't be the GOAT, the one thing that I cannot defend is that Tom Brady's always done more with less.
And that's fair. I will give you that much. That is definitely 100% fair. Talent gets overlooked all the time, and I think that's one reason why. I mean, you look at Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco didn't go to a Division I school. Delaware. I don't even think Delaware was Division I when he went in there. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were still Division II or Division III. So I mean, if you look, I could be wrong. It's been a minute, but anyway. And that's kind of where all these evaluations are, and like in a lot of ways, they're flawed. Because once you start seeing these super duper athletes come up, it kind of gets political from that point on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's also just your opinion on the GOAT, right? Are you gonna go with accomplishments? Are you gonna go with how they played the position? Are you gonna do what they changed the game? Like, did they change the game during the time that they were there? Or are they just athletically gifted? Because let's be honest, if you just do athletically gifted, players from 20, 30 years ago are not going to be in the conversation anymore, because we can all agree that our game nowadays, in the last 10 to 15 years, players are way more talented, even on the back end of rosters, than they were 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's because a lot of it's changed over the years as well. There's more. You could even argue for just about any sport. A lot of sports are starting to get to where they're more skilled. They do things year round, instead of just during the season. Things of that nature.
People aren't garbage men in the mornings and on an NBA court at night.
Well, the rules are so different now compared to what they used to be. Used to be it was grinding pound, run and gun. I mean, that was just It was just this. It was just this. It was just different football compared to what it is now. And so that's where we also have to take a look and see, because like I said, Tom Brady was not the most athletic guy in the world. He was very, very intelligent. He knew the game. He studied the game, and 10 Super Bowls for a quarterback, and he won 7 of them, and that's what makes him the GOAT right there. Like you said, he won with less, and he still proved it even after he left New England. He still proved he could play football, and that's why he's considered the GOAT.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna be honest. Up until he won in Tampa Bay, I did not have Tom Brady as my GOAT. And I'll explain it why. One, in my opinion of, GOAT talks, you have to do one of 3 things. Win a lot, which he checkmarked. You have to be overly athletically gifted, which he was not. And then also, I took into the case of, is he the reason why they're winning? And we didn't get to know that until he left New England. Because, yes, he always did more with less in New England, but was it Robert Kraft? Was it Bill Belichick? Was it his coaches and his training? Like, those factors were kind of in it for me. But the second he left and went to Tampa, and now, yes, he had a much more talented team in Tampa, but I think he also elevated guys when he went to Tampa.
Oh yeah,
that's why when he won
Scotty
his
Miller.
ring, when he won his ring in Tampa, that's when I officially put him my GOAT. Yes, he's not the most athletic guy at the position, right? And he's not ever going to be. But his mind for the game and what he's able to do with his players that he has to elevate them from good to great, bad to good, and so on, that's why I have him as my GOAT now. But I think there's a lot more into it than just accolades.
Who did you have before him, out of curiosity?
I don't even remember, I'm going to be honest.
Mine was Joe.
See, I would think Joe Montana would have been up there.
So before Tampa,
I know I had Joe in my top 3.
Before the Tampa deal, Joe was my number 1. And the only reason why is not necessarily the exact same as Shane's. Mine was, I feel like Tom Brady's Patriots career was filled with too much question. That was my stance on it. But again, going to Tampa, that in winning a championship year 1 with a really good team that you should win a championship with immediately, that I was just like, all right, fine. I guess I'll finally throw in the towel in my long fight that I've had of an anti-GOAT.
If you guys and it's something if you guys remember, because I mean, and it's fair. The evaluation you're giving is fair. I had him as the GOAT before he went to Tampa, but your evaluation is fair too. I think the one thing that really hurt, like you said, with the flaw in New England, the year he was completely injured, Matt Castle still won 11 games as a starting quarterback.
Yep, 11 or 10, one of the two.
That's exactly why I didn't, because we saw other quarterbacks have. Go ahead.
Yep. No, you're good. I'm not saying they didn't make the playoffs that year because there were so many. The AFC was so strong that year.
Yeah.
They had a lot of teams 12 wins or more. The AFC was very, very strong that year, so that's the only reason they didn't make the playoffs that year. But yeah, evaluation that's fair. I'll give you that much. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're evaluating something of that magnitude, there has to be multiple categories, and if a player is in the top of that category of every category that you're speaking of, except for maybe one, and then you have to officially give it to him, right? Like when I speak of the GOAT, like I said, like even when it comes to basketball or hockey or baseball, whatever it may be, you really have to take it into account, accolades, how talented, how athletically gifted they are, what kind of system have they been in. If somebody else can be plugged into that system and win, like I said, there's a lot of evaluations that go into it for me, so that's why until he left New England, I didn't have him personally as my GOAT.
And the fun thing is about talking about GOATs of football is you can have a different GOAT for all different things, right? Because like if we want to talk regular season GOAT, you'd have to give it to like Peyton Manning, you know what I mean? Probably, or Drew Brees, just from a yardage standpoint. But like, there's so many different ways to talk about the GOAT.
But also, you think of that era though, right?
That era is insane. Like once you really think about it.
It sucks because Tom Brady dominated that era.
Yep.
Like once he got in there, like if you can't tell me if Tom Brady was not part of that era, if he came an era before Peyton or an era after Peyton, like towards the back end of his career, Peyton Manning would probably have 5 or 6 championships.
Oh,
like, you
100%.
can't tell me different.
Even Peyton admits that.
You know what I
mean? Even Peyton jokes about that.
I mean, that takes into evaluation too, right?
Yeah, it does.
Like, Phillip Rivers is on my list only because of stats and things, but also like look at the other players that he was competing against.
Yeah.
He was competing with Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and Tom Brady and all these other great quarterbacks of that era. Like, of course, somebody's going to be left out.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Phillip Rivers was one of them.
Yeah, and that's the downside of it. Especially when you have an era like that and you just got GOAT after GOAT after GOAT. You know what I mean? I will say, in terms of just the GOAT of being the most talented passer, I would actually give it to Drew Brees personally. Tom, I can say is the GOAT, but I would say Drew Brees is the most talented passer. I saw you shake your head. Ricky, please tell me what other quarterbacks passed for over 5,000 yards 4 or more times. And don't say it was a talent thing. You know damn well that Drew Brees had the same level of talent that Tom Brady worked with, except the occasional really good one receiver that pop off for a year.
I will say this much about Drew Brees. Yes, if you go talent-wise, absolutely.
That's all I'm talking
But
about.
if you go talent-wise, absolutely. But when it came to playoff time, heavily, heavily overrated. One
Agreed.
Super Bowl
Agreed.
with the talent that he had. That's why he is not on my GOAT list. He's not even in my top 5.
Look, all I'm saying is from a talent perspective, he is my GOAT in terms of passing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now, I would fight you on top 5. He could potentially listen.
No, hell no.
You're out of your damn mind if he's not even considered for the 5 spot.
Eli Manning won more Super Bowls than he did.
Hold on. Look, I'm not going to argue Drew for top 3, but you got to at least consider him for 5, just from like how many times did he pass for over 5,000 yards, right? He was the career holder of the yards and the TDs before Tom, played 74 more years and got it. You got to at least have him in the conversation for the 5 spot.
No.
At least.
No.
I agree. I agree with Alex. I think if anything, even if he may not be your 5th guy, maybe he's your 6th or 7th guy.
Yeah, he's got to be in the conversation.
But he's got at least got to be in consideration and conversation if he's
that's all I'm saying. He's got to be in the conversation.
If we're going based on talent, yes, I'll put him in the top 5. But if you take all the other categories, including playoff victories and championships, that does mean something. No, he's not in the top 5. Not gonna happen.
But there's more into that, right? We just spoke about this.
Yes,
there was like 3 quarterbacks that dominated that entire era. Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and some other guys are the beneficiaries. In the regular season, he was in that group, right? In the regular season, in that group, right? But when it comes to playoffs, the top echelon guys, your Peyton Mannings, your Tom Brady's, like those guys. Those are the guys that were winning, right? So, unfortunately, you can only have one guy winning. So, unfortunately, guys like Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers and some other guys, those can't win because those other top echelon guys were winning. So, you can't fault Drew Brees for having somebody like a Peyton Manning or a Drew Brees or a team like the Giants that dominated 4 out of 5 years, getting to the Super Bowl twice and winning it against Tom Brady. Like, you can't fault him for that.
Yes, you can, because he's in the NFC. He was in the NFC. Brady and Peyton were always in the AFC until Brady.
But you can't tell me those giant teams were always better than the Saints.
No, hell no. But they still won.
They were consistently in the playoffs and went to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 of them. What are you talking about?
Eli Manning. What 3rd Super Bowl?
I think it might have only been 2.
They went to 2 of them. And they beat Tom Brady both times. That was Eli Manning's best years. I can pull up their record right now and tell you.
That's his claim for fame.
Eli Manning, as a starting quarterback, was 500. His record was 500.
But I'm not.
He still won more than Drew Brees did.
Because he had better teams.
No, he didn't. No,
yes,
he did not. No, he did not.
Yes, he
I
did.
will argue that. No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
He did not have near the talent that New Orleans had.
And that's
Not
one
even
reason.
close.
And that's one reason why I don't have Eli Manning in my top 10. Because
Hell no, I would put Eli Manning in my top 25.
because
top
he
25 's
always had great teams. He was literally
he
the
didn't.
opposite. He was opposite of Tom Brady. He had way
No,
more
he
talent
didn't.
and did less with it.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He had 2 potential Hall of Fame running backs, at least 3 potential Hall of Fame receivers, and he always had a Hall of Fame defense at least 5 of those 15 years that he played.
No, he didn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. No, he didn't. We'll go back and look at the stats some other day. I'm trying to tell you. No, he didn't.
Sidebar on all this, Ricky, I do have a question for you.
What?
If Drew's not even going to be in conversation for your top 5, who is your top 5 off the dome?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that one day. We'll get to that one day.
All right, all
So
Yeah, because
off
it's
the
so off the rocker, it's unbelievable, I bet.
off the dome. Off the dome. Yes, Tom Brady's definitely on up there. I would put Peyton Manning above Drew Brees in a single heartbeat. I would put Patrick Mahomes above him in a single heartbeat. Let's see here. You've also got Joe Montana, who I would put up there in a single heartbeat. Let me see here. Troy Aikman, I'd put Troy Aikman above Drew Brees.
You are out of your mind. No shot.
I would put Troy Aikman. I would
No
put Troy
shot. Overrated as hell.
Hang on. How many Super Bowls Troy Aikman win?
How do you happen to know off the
Thank you.
dome? Do you happen to know off the dome the most TDs that dude threw in a single season?
I don't care.
23.
Above Drew Brees.
Dude,
still
he
put him
was
above Drew
carried
Brees.
by an ungodly good team. Troy is
Yes.
overrated as shit.
I disagree, but I would still put him. I would still put him over Drew Brees in a heartbeat.
Troy Aikman's
he
lucky
was a
to make
winner.
the top 25 best of
Hang
all
on
time.
though, but here's the problem though, Alex. You also have to remember in the 90s it was about more running than it was about quarterback play. And you could have the same argument for Joe Montana. It was more about running the ball than what it was about quarterback play. You still had to have a great skill position compared to what it was. The rules completely changed right around the time Drew Brees was right around in his prime is when all the rules changed. I'm not discrediting Drew Brees by any chance of the means necessary. What I'm trying to tell you is he won 1 Super Bowl on a group with the New Orleans Saints. He should have at least had 3, if not 4. Then you have the argument of putting him in the top 5. The fact that he won 1 Super Bowl with the talent that he was surrounded with for as long as he was with, you could argue some of the years they didn't make the playoffs. You could argue some of those years that they did it because you're going to have down years. It's football. It's football. That's going to happen. But when it comes to consistency, with winning, with making playoffs, with doing something in the playoffs, he's not in the top 5. Period.
I mean, we need to move on, so I'll leave it at this. I respect your opinion. I just think it's full of shit.
Like I said, people hate winners, and people love to embrace losers.
Hey,
That's why I'm a Vanderbilt Commodore fan.
Hey, I'm gonna end on this too, because we will follow up on this when we have some free time. Okay, we're gonna hit this conversation again. Mark it down, because I want to throw out one random thing here for you. If you're basing your list here off like championships, obviously I know you're factoring stats in. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to correct me on that. But if you want to factor in championships and stuff and you look at your top 5, I will make a fucking argument that Peyton Manning did not even win that fucking second Super Bowl. Look at his damn stats this year. They drug him across the finish line.
Hang on. No. You are 100% absolutely right about that. But like I said before, who had more success, Peyton Manning or Drew Brees? It was by far.
Peyton Manning's like 3 Super Bowl losses or whatever. Is a lot of success.
The whole reason why Ricky irritates me with his opinion. No, Ricky, I love you, dude. Don't get me wrong. Okay, you're my guy. You're nooner. Okay, you'll always be my dude. But
it's always fun and games, dude. This is not personal.
To me, you like with every person you contradict your last person, right? You flaw Drew Brees for not winning, right? But then I think you're just full of contradictions in my brain. So we have to attack this because I want to break that down.
We're gonna have to follow up just for me Like, Ricky, you were straight cooking until you said Troy Aikman. Then you lost me. Troy Aikman, you lost me. I when you said Patrick, I'm like, you know what? I'll throw Patrick in there. I'm with Ricky on this. He's cooking. He's cooking with Joe. He's cooking with Tom. He's cooking with Peyton. He's cooking with Patrick. You said Troy. I'm like, all right, we got to talk. Oh, man. We got to talk. We got to follow up on this, though. And I still want to hear your argument on Tim Tebow one day, too. I've been waiting for 2 years for this.
maybe what we can do. Maybe what we can do.
I can do that now if you want to.
2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when we missed an episode, what we can do, we can throw in an extra episode during the off season, and it'll be about this subject.
Yeah. And I'd be curious to know, like, the entire team here at ATFS. I'd be curious to know, like, everyone's top 5, like, per, like, positions, and just see how different and how differ we are across the board. You know what I mean? That's something I'd be really curious about.
What I fear is that they probably won't be much different, but the reasonings behind them will be much different.
That's true.
Very true. Now, I will say this much. A wide receiver, if anybody says anything other than Jerry Rice be the greatest of all time, I can't talk to you.
I agree to that. I agree.
But listen, I agree. Jerry Rice is a GOAT receiver.
Okay.
But if you don't have Ocho Cinco or Owens in the top, say, 7, you're delusional.
Okay, so Owens, yes. Ocho Cinco, I don't know.
I think from a talent perspective, Ocho should be in the conversation. But talent and, like, final production, those are kind of two different things. That's why I said I consider Drew the greatest talent at passer, alongside, like, I would say, like, an Aaron Rodgers, a Peyton, even a Patrick Mahomes. Like, they're all some of the most talented passers we've ever seen. Ocho is definitely, like, dude, he's top 5 in terms of most talented receivers ever, in terms of just talent. Like, it's unreal. But from a production standpoint, that's where I feel like there's a conversation to be had. So we got to have a conversation about this. We got to follow up. Let's hop over to college. We got on quite the tangent here today, boys. We still got picks to do, too, coming up.
You're welcome.
So, hey, shout out to LSU. Love that. Let's go. Here we go. Beyond that, though.
Shut up, Alex.
The game was rigged.
Any big conversations from the weekend of college you want to dive into? I mean, like, we got Alabama had another L. Georgia beating Texas. How are we feeling about that? Where do we want to dive into?
So, before we dive into anything, there is one thing that I am going to say to my fellow officials who are calling college football, and I'm sorry that you guys are getting so scrutinized very, very much. I'm not going to scrutinize them. I'm going to scrutinize the replay system. Whoever is doing the replay system, either A, they need more cameras, or B, they're as blind as a bat and don't need to be doing their job. Because we need to figure out what the crap. We need a consistency of what targeting is and what targeting is not. Georgia's player targeting, which I agreed with, it stood. But when the Arkansas game, the LSU guy, that was clear targeting. Now, I do.
And they reversed it on the field. That's what blew my mind. They called it on the field and reversed it. They said there was enough evidence there that they reversed the call.
That's the replay center that reverses it, Shane. That's not the reverse on the field. The field official has nothing to do with the replay.
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying in general, yes. Like how, like it literally checkmarked everything that by your rules is targeting, but yet the replay system said, you know what, reverse that call. It's not targeting. Like what?
I know in high school, if a receiver is wrapped up, they're not considered defenseless. The problem is that he had another player that led with his shoulder and hit him dead square in the mouth.
The launch with the crown of the helmet to the face mask automatically dictates that it's targeting. If it's a launch with a crown of the helmet to the head, regardless of the situation, it is targeting.
Yeah, and it's just been so inconsistent. It's bad. It's so bad right now.
And then I watched two Georgia players get ejected for targeting when those were kind of 50-50. Now, I agreed with those calls, but that wasn't as crisp as that Arkansas call was. Refs and the booth blew it. Mostly the booth, but blew it on Saturday in multiple games.
Yeah, a lot of conversation around officiating at all times, right? And definitely saw that a little bit this weekend, that's for sure. Beyond the officiating standpoint, I mean, how shocked are you about that Georgia-Texas game, how it panned out, or even, Alabama losing to Tennessee?
I'm more shocked that Texas didn't play well. 'Cause
I
I thought they were
agree
going
to
to.
that.
I thought they were going to roll. They've been the most consistent team so far this year. If you look
Yeah.
at it from an offensive point and a defensive standpoint, they've been the most consistent team. Georgia has really not been consistent at all.
Mhm.
Not shocked that Tennessee beat Alabama. I will say this much about Alabama. Because they had about 25, 26 players who transferred once Nick Saban announced his retirement. They're going to have to give DeBoer a little bit more time than what they're doing. I still think it was the wrong hire, though. I will defend that until the day I die. I still think DeBoer was not the right hire for it, but that's another conversation for the other day. At the same time, they kind of need to back off of that because someone in the athletic department, whoever hired him, you're going to have to give them some time. They're young, they're undisciplined. They don't look like Alabama football.
Mhm.
They look bad. I mean, you've got a loss to Vanderbilt and you have a loss to Tennessee. They might want to stay away from Tennessee for a while. They just need to stay away from the state of Tennessee for a while. Just stay away from the state of Tennessee, and they'll be fine. But other than that, like I said, it's just not shocked at all by that.
And I just got one thing. This season, and I think it's been said multiple times, this is the most chaotic season since 2007. Like this season is very eerie, reminding me of 2007, where number one spot didn't last longer than a week.
Mhm.
I think we've now had, out of the 6 weeks, we've had 4 number one teams lose.
Yeah, and Oregon. Who's Oregon had this week?
I don't know. It's in my picks.
Yeah, you had. Oh, it was Illinois. So number 1 versus number 20.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
Illinois surprised me. How they beat Michigan? How in the world that happened?
Yeah, now we got Michigan State this weekend with both teams unranked. When was the last time that happened? Usually it'd be
Before Jim
Michigan
Harbaugh
ranked
got
or
there.
something, you know.
it would have to be pre. It would have to be pre Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. You
Yeah,
know,
it's been a while.
another crazy one to shout out from this past weekend is just how much Indiana beat the shit out of Nebraska.
That was the biggest surprise to me. I'm not gonna
Like,
lie. I knew
bruh.
Indiana was a good team, but I did not expect the ass whooping that Indiana put on Nebraska.
Dude, for real.
I picked Nebraska to win that game too, and
Me too.
I felt like dog crap when I'm like, oh my god.
I only had 3 losses. I think I only had like 3 or 4. I only had a few losses, and that Nebraska Indiana game was one of them.
Yeah.
In the run your pool.
There's a good argument to be made that Indiana may make the playoffs with only one loss. That one loss could be Ohio State, but I'm going to make the argument they could go undefeated. Has that ever happened? Has Indiana ever gone undefeated in football?
That's a damn good question, my friend. Let me see if I can get the answer.
Probably in like the 50s or 60s.
Let me see. All right, so the good news for Indiana is that it looks like Curtis is only going to miss like 1 week. He did have surgery on his thumb because I know he got hurt that game. But that is the good news that Curtis may only miss 1 week because you got to have Curtis in there. Although, I don't know. I say that, and Curtis does give them the best chance to win, but their backup that came in played really well too. Like, I'm not going to discredit that kid, but you need Curtis in there to have the best chance. You know what I mean? But let me see here.
Oh, Indiana football. In 126 seasons, they've won 489 games, or 489, 690, and 38. That is absolutely, oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I see that.
Let's see here. They have never had an undefeated season.
Could this be the year?
They went 9-0-1 in 1945.
They've
This
never
could
even
be the
had
year.
they've never even had a double-digit winning season. Am I seeing that right?
Never.
Wow.
seeing
The
that
most
right.
they've ever had
Never.
is 9 wins, and I think that was only one time. Let me do another quick scroll, make sure my dyslexic ass is not misreading that. So there's the one in 45. Okay, no, there's 67. I think that might be it. They've only had 9 wins twice. That's crazy. In 126 years, 9 wins twice. 3-10 in bowl games. Oh my Lord, have mercy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think
Wow.
Vanderbilt has more wins than that.
And what's crazy with this world in college football, it's probably only going to last 1 year because guess what?
I
That
know.
coach getting poached.
I know.
That coach will be gone.
Yeah, it's his first year.
Ohio State's gonna hire him.
Coach Signati, Coach Sig.
Which
What a name.
Don't get me wrong, or please fact check me. Wasn't he the coach that got James Madison from like winning last year, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So I mean, he's won everywhere he's went. He will be poached from a top echelon program.
Yeah,
Nope,
he went 8-3 with James Madison in 2022 and 11-1 with James Madison last year, and now he's 7-0 with Indiana. And keep in mind, this guy also was he was on Coach Saban's staff once upon a time. Coach Sig, baby, Coach Sig. What a G.
Yep, he'll go to USC after Lincoln Riley gets fired this year.
That could happen. That could in fact happen. I will touch on Miami. That game was stressing me out. Like, I mean, Louisville's not a bad team by any means, but oh man, that game was really stressing me out, bro. And now we have what?
I was just going to say that one thing that is encouraging though, Alex, is that right now they're starting to play at their conference competition. Yep. Conference is a lot different than what it is when you're playing non-conference.
Yep.
These conference teams know these teams very, very well.
Yep.
And they know their strategies and everything like that. Of course, this was a fairly high-scoring game compared to what I thought it was going to be. But the one thing that you have to understand, Alex, is they're finishing games.
Yep.
Miami's biggest problem, it wasn't the way they started, it was the way they finished. And they've actually been able to stay consistent on the offensive side of the football. That's a very, very good sign. On the other hand, the defense they need to step up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree to that. And now we have the dreaded game that I've been waiting for against one of the worst teams in college football. But even though that's the case, we could still very much lose that game because that's just something Miami would do, and that being Florida State.
No, they're not losing to Florida State this year. No.
I agree, but I'm just telling you, this would be the random game Miami would lose. I'm just saying.
40 points.
Huh?
40-point victory.
I do agree, but again, this is the one game that Miami would randomly lose when we should not fucking lose. That's college football. Let's be honest, Alabama shouldn't have lost to Vandy, right?
Hey, I even said they would win that game. I still can't believe they did it.
Listen,
I still can't believe
if Vandy beats Texas this week, I'll join you and I'll buy a Vandy. I'll buy a fucking Vandy jersey.
I will too.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'll buy a Vandy jersey.
Shane, I don't know how long it's been since you've been up. Have you heard the story of how I bought my Vanderbilt jersey?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I was making sure because it was pretty funny.
So Miami is a 21-point favorite against Florida.
I know.
Over under is 54.5.
I know.
Where's it at?
It's in Miami.
Yeah, it's in Miami.
Look, 30-point victory, easy.
Look, I'm still nervous about the game. Until we're up 30 points, I'm going to be nervous about the game. I have seen the same fucking thing happen before where Miami is a top 10 ranked team going against an unranked Florida State that we should beat and we lose.
I mean, Texas is an 18.5-point favorite against Vandy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just going to randomly one week just pop in with Shane Sharp's picks of the week. So I'm just saying. I'm going to be like, Hammer Don.
Oh, hey, I just saw when I was looking at the top 25 and I just saw this team and it reminded me of a conversation in this past week. What do you guys think about this? I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'll say it. This stupid, idiotic take from Travis Hunter involving the Heisman.
Yeah, I think it's Ascengenti's. I don't care what Travis Hunter or anybody says. I think it's Ascengenti and nobody else. Especially if he breaks Barry Sanders' record, I don't give a crap what conference he plays in. If he breaks that 37-year-old record, he's getting the Heisman Trophy. I don't care.
Yeah, it should be his, and no matter what.
If he doesn't, I'm rioting.
I agree. No, I mean, like, his take of, like, if I had, 95 catches, 95 touches on the ball on offense, like, how do you think my stats would look? I'm just like, I mean, bruh, rushing and receiving are two different things.
Yeah, and if Deion Sanders wasn't your coach, you'd still be stuck down there in Jackson State doing nothing.
Okay, that's a little too far.
That might be a little too far. He would
That's
be
a little too far.
he would have gone to Florida State and been with this current dumpster fire.
No, he would have transferred out.
Yeah, he would.
He would have transferred
Yeah,
out.
he would have.
Don't get me wrong. Travis Hunter is a great player. He deserves to be in that conversation, but I mean, he kind of did it to his own self, right? I mean, with you playing both sides of the ball, you're not gonna get 95 touches on the offensive side of the ball and then still deliver and perform on the defensive side of the ball. It's just not gonna happen.
Guys,
Sorry.
can I point something out to you about this whole, like, I'm looking at this and I'm really starting to question myself, like, how is Travis in the conversation for, for Heisman?
Because he's talented, he plays both sides of the ball, and because of his coach.
Have you seen his
That's
stats, though?
They're horrible.
Yeah, like, literally last year and this year, right? Like,
He was injured all last year, except for, like, I think he played – how many games did he play last year?
he
He didn't
got
play very many games last year, though.
He got 57 catches last year, 721 yards, five tuds. This year he's got 51 catches, 604, 6 tuds. On the defensive side of the ball, last year 23 solo tackles, 31 tackles total, 3 interceptions, no forced fumbles, no sacks, no touchdowns. And then this year he's got 18 total tackles, 12 solo, 6 assists, no sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 picks. Like, look, don't get me wrong. Like, talent-wise, he's ungodly talented, but he's not the best player in college football. Like, I'm sorry. Right,
No,
this year it's Ashton. It's Ashton or nobody.
There are 18 other receivers with more yardage than what he has. So no, he does not really stand out as far as receiver goes. Now, if you want to argue both ways, fine, but no, it's just because the height.
I'd say
and it's
that
because of
that
those
would
coaches.
be I think the only argument that you could do, right? Is what could he potentially do if he's not playing both sides of the ball? If he's only
Right.
focusing on one, then what could he do? But then at the end of the day, that's not what he's doing. So you got to look at it the way it is. And right now, it's Ashton Genty or nobody.
It's one of those things with, look, I understand we're seeing, some history being made with a player playing at a pretty decently high level on both sides of the ball at the same time, playing pretty much every snap of the game. I get that, but dude, seriously, Ashton Genty is having a type of running back season that we just don't see. You know what I mean? Like, we really don't. Like, he could break Barry Sanders' record, which has been up for like 30-something years.
So right now, Ashton Genty has 126 carries for 1,248 yards. The next running back below him is Caleb Johnson of Iowa, who has
He's balling.
He's also
He's
right at
balling.
1,035, but he also has 6 more carries. And I don't care what, like I said, I don't care what conference you're in. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
That's very, very hard to do. It's Ashton Genty, and then it's everybody else. It's not even close.
I can't wait to see him holding that Heisman Trophy. Can't wait. No, I thought that was just an interesting conversation. Let's see. Let me go down the list, see if there's any other games to kind of shout out. Besides those few that we hit, I don't think a whole lot of major exciting things happen in college football. I could be wrong. I know I would like to get to picks here soon. Hey, big shout out to the rankings, man. What a beautiful rankings those last 3 rankings are. You know what I mean? You got Army 23, Navy 24, and Vandy 25. What
That's
a year
right.
of
My
college
Commodores.
football.
My Commodores, just like that.
Also,
Fuck the AP.
shout out. Yeah, fuck the AP. Let's go ahead and establish that up front. But shout out to the AP for one thing. And honestly, it's the coaches one as well. Shout out to the one motherfucker that voted for Nebraska to get ranked after getting their shit beat. Nebraska's got 1 vote on the AP and on the coaches.
I think that's probably Nebraska's athletic director.
It's gotta be, bro. It's gotta be. Don't get me wrong. I understand they were ranked, right? Like, I get it. At least from the coaches' rankings, they were. I think they were ranked in the AP. I'm not sure, but it's like, dude, after that beatdown, you're gonna give them 1 vote, like a little pity vote. Come on now. What are we doing? Oh, Jesus Christ. Is there anything else in college that you guys want to dive into? If not, I feel like we can probably go ahead and start getting to picks.
Yeah, I'm good with picks, but I don't know about Rick.
Yep, let's go.
All right, let me turn this music on. Do we want to do NFL or college?
We're in college. We did pro last year. No, we did pro last. We did pro. Well, no, I guess I wasn't here last week.
Ricky, what we do last week?
Now, I think we did do pro first last week, so I don't care what we do first this week, because I think the reason we should do pro this week is because it's kind of dull for the NFL.
Yeah,
I will do this right. I was right. North Dakota State snapped their losing streak against South Dakota State. One heck of a ball game.
Good job, man. I did see that. That was a very tight game too. Very tight game.
And I think they got a good chance of meeting each other in the championship this year.
Yeah. All right, let's go to NFL then. Let me get my thing loaded up here. Make your picks. All right. Thursday Night Football. We got the teams that are in the trade conversation. We got Minnesota and the Rams. Give me Minnesota after having a very close loss and a damn good football game with the Lions.
Absolutely.
Yep. Give me the Vikings.
All right, next up, Baltimore and Cleveland. Not even a question. Baltimore. Not even a conversation.
I told you all about this Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry duo when the trade happened. I'm glad I said some shit because they are panning out, baby.
I think if Cleveland gets Matt Stafford, I'll pick Cleveland.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, next up, we got Indianapolis and Houston. Give me Houston. Anthony Richardson sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll disagree, but I'll go Houston, though.
Shut up, Shane. Green Bay and Jacksonville. Give me the Packers, unfortunately.
Yeah, give me the Pack.
Yep, Packers.
All right, Tennessee and Detroit. Easy, Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah.
This week sucks, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Atlanta and Tampa. Give me Tampa. I mean, I still believe in this team, even without their two top guys.
Yeah, the biggest issue with Tampa, though, is defensively. Defensively, they're not very good. They are losing. They did lose a couple of weapons for this coming week, though. I'm going to go Atlanta.
Yeah, I'd like to see the. Well, man, I know technically Kirk didn't get hurt or anything, but they did pull him after getting their butts kicked in that game. So I'd like to see. I mean, Kirk will most likely start, but if it looks like anything from last game, but yeah, give me Tampa.
All right, Jets and New England. I'm going to pick the Jets. If the Jets lose this, something's got to drastically change. That's ridiculous at that point.
Yeah,
they should win this pretty easy. New England sucks. They're terrible.
Yeah, I think if they lose this game to New England, I'm sure the odds are already slim, but if you go 2-6, the odds are even more against your favor. The Jets, if they want any kind of chance, they need to win this game.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Chicago and Washington, give me the Bears. Even if Jaden was playing, give me the Bears.
I'm going to take the Commanders regardless if Jaden's playing or not. The Commanders' defense is a lot better than Chicago's defense, and that's saying a lot.
Bullshit.
5-2, my man. 5-2. There's a reason they're 5-2 right now.
We had a bye week. Okay, calm down.
I don't care.
No, I'm just saying, this pick is completely emotional. I'm going my Commanders, or the Commanders, because I'm a Marcus Mariota fucking fan, baby. Let's get him back in the starting in the league.
Bruh.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even know Marcus Mariota was a backup quarterback. Heck yeah, I'm going Washington.
Bruh. Guys.
I love you. I love you, Alex. Listen, Alex, I love you. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy for you. But I still think Caleb Williams is eventually going to be a bust. That's okay. He's got talent around him. And so, but, you know, it is what it is, man. Don't get me wrong. I love you, man.
For me, this is strictly Marcus Mariota. I'm just saying this is Marcus Mariota for me, baby. You know, I'm a person, I've always been a Marcus Mariota fan, of course, Oregon. But he deserves to be playing in the league. Get him a starting spot.
I wanted to make this real up close and personal here to both of you. Bear down, baby. Bears are getting that win. All right. It's going to be a good weekend for the Chicago Bears. Let me zoom this back out. We don't need to see my ugly face that much. All right. There we go. All right. Next pick, Arizona and Miami. Totally forgot to even talk about the Tua thing this show, but that's crazy. Anyway, give me Arizona, though.
Yeah, Arizona should win this football game. Miami just looks depleted. in total general.
Yeah.
They look worse than the Jets at this point, and that's bad.
You know what? Just to keep my rankings climbing in the NFL side of the Run Your Pool, I'm going Miami.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Next up, Saints and the Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
The Saints streak has got to end at some point.
They started off 2-0 and they dropped the last 5, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Crazy.
I'm gonna go New Orleans.
I am as well. I'm going New Orleans.
Buffalo and Seattle. That should be one of the good games of the weekend. Give me Buffalo.
Oh! Every time I pick against Seattle, they win. For Saints' sake, I'm going Buffalo.
Hell yeah, I'm going Seattle.
All right, Philly and Cincy. Give me, I guess, Philly.
Cincinnati's starting to figure things out. They haven't really played anybody yet, but I'll take Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think these last 2 games are probably the hardest one on the slate to pick. With Buffalo and Seattle, Philly and Cincinnati. You know, much like the Jets, I think in order to stay in conversation in the AFC, Cincinnati needs this game a lot more than Philly does. So I'm going with Cincinnati.
Okay. Kansas City and Vegas. Give me KC.
What if Minshew Mania was still running wild in Vegas? Would you pick Vegas?
He is.
Yeah, he is.
O'Connell's hurt.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell got hurt.
Oh,
Yep.
did he really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Minshew Mania
Okay.
threw 3 picks that game too. This past Sunday.
Aiden O'Connell's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a broken right thumb.
Yep. Just because it's Kansas City, no, I'm not gonna go with Minshew Mania. But I would love it if Minshew Mania gave KC their first fucking L.
That would be
Give me
great.
Minshew Mania. Give me
But
Minshew. I'll take Minshew
I
Mania.
respect
That's
that.
insane. I'm going Kansas City.
I'm
I respect it. I
joking.
respect it. I respect the shit out of you.
I'm joking. And again, y'all do remember, I jokingly said that Vanderbilt was going to beat Bama. Let's just remember that.
Yeah.
And they did it. So I'm just saying. I'm not going to pull the trigger. I could, but I'm not going to.
All right, Carolina, Denver. Give me Denver.
Give me Denver.
I will also take Denver.
Dallas and San Fran for a thrilling Sunday night game.
If there was such thing as a terrible game of the week for the NFL, this would probably
Look,
be
I'm telling
one
you,
of-
we should consider it.
Yeah, we need to do a terrible game of the week for the NFL for too long. San Francisco is Dallas's kryptonite, and Dallas absolutely sucks on all ends of the football. Wouldn't surprise me if Dallas does not win a single game the rest of the year.
You're going to pick San Fran even after, Dak got engaged during the bye week?
I don't give a damn if he got engaged during the bye week. Does it look like I care?
Hey, at least he has.
Absolutely not.
At least he has somebody else to spend the $60 million on.
That's very true.
Give me Dallas. Actually, give me Dallas.
Wow.
Yep, give me Dallas.
For that reason, I'm going San Fran.
What the fuck?
And not only for that reason, but also, like, I thought Dallas could still be good after they got blew out by the Saints. I just figured the Saints were just going to be that team.
Yeah.
But we clearly saw with that last game that Dallas played getting blown out by 40. That's not the case. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with Rick. I don't see Dallas. I mean, unless they have Cleveland on their schedule, they're probably not going to win another game this year.
Now, I will say this much. They are undefeated on the road.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Well, that streak
road
will
game.
end in San Francisco.
With a depleted San Francisco team.
Yep. Go San Francisco.
That's why I'm saying Dallas. All right, and then a barn burner of a Monday night game, the Giants and the Steelers. Give me the Steelers.
I really want to pick the Giants just because I hope they expose Russell Wilson for the fraud he is. But Russell Wilson looked actually very, very good Sunday night. I was very, very impressed with how well he played. And Pittsburgh looks really, really good at this point. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but they should definitely make the playoffs. But I'm picking Pittsburgh.
I'm going Pittsburgh because of Russell Wilson. And I'll say this because I think his main focus has shifted back to football. And we've seen that once Russell Wilson focuses on football and only football, how good he can be. I mean, we saw how well he played in his last game, but also for him not to give the reporter some cheesy ass slogan that he's been giving us his entire career, and just be like, hey, he literally told the reporter, we'll see, and he gave all the respect to that rookie unsigned free agent DB. Like, he is focused on football, and when Russ is focused on football, he's a top 7 quarterback in the league. He's good. I'm going to Pittsburgh.
All right, let's hop over to college picks. For the FCS game of the week, I had it between 2 based on what everyone put in and did not put in. So I'll let you guys pick A or B. Ricky, for some reason, I can't hear you. Are you muted on like your headset mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter who you pick, man. It's no big deal.
A or B. Just pick A or B.
A.
All right, we got our game then. All right, let's get going. First up, we have.
What if I chose B?
Well, what are you picking?
I choose B.
All right, I know which one it'll be then. I'm gonna pick on the spot. All right, so let's go.
Okay.
Syracuse and Pittsburgh. Give me Pittsburgh.
Give me Pitt.
This could be a closer game though than what meets the eye, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, give me the orange. Give me the orange. Give me the orange.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna take the upset here.
Listen, I'm not about the Callum McCord hype. Okay, I'm going Pittsburgh.
No, give me the orange. I'm here for the orange. All right, next up, Boise State UNLV. This is gonna be a pretty good Mountain West matchup. I think they both only have 1 loss. Give me Boise State here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think UNLV's defense is going to be fine, but I don't think they have enough to stop Ashton. Even though I did say UNLV was going to beat the Beavs last week, and it did happen.
I think I picked that. No, I might have picked it. I think I did pick the Beavs, unfortunately. But I'm also going Boise State. Right now, no one has proven out of the games that Boise State has played to be able to stop Ashton Genty. So until it's proven, I'm riding with him. So
respect. All right, next up, Nebraska and Ohio State.
Don't be surprised if I say this. Upset alert could happen in this game this week.
I agree. That's why I put the game in.
I understand that Nebraska got absolutely destroyed and demolished last week. If there's anybody in this God's green earth that can turn it around, it's Matt Rule. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm picking Ohio State. Don't be surprised if Nebraska pulls it off.
I agree. That's why I put the game in. I'm picking Ohio State, but it would not shock me if this is that random game that Ohio State loses.
Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I mean, I agree with you. I think if anybody can beat Ohio State, it could be Matt Rule. That dude is an offensive genius, but at the end of the day, like, if they let Indiana put 57 on them, I mean, this Ohio State offense is a lot better than Indiana. Even though as good as Indiana is, yeah, it's not gonna be pretty. I'll go Ohio State.
Washington and Indiana, the home of College Game Day this week. Give me Indiana, because even if Curtis is going to be out, man, that backup looked really solid on Saturday. Give me Indiana. Give me the Hoosiers.
Indiana's run game is also pretty solid, too.
True.
That's one
they had like 5 touchdowns this weekend.
It's pretty wild.
Give me Indiana.
Fuck Jacob for not being here. That's the whole reason I put this next game in here. We got Buffalo and Ohio. Fuck Jacob. Give me the Bulls.
I'm also going to the Bulls. Ohio just got annihilated last week. So
make it 3 for 3.
Nice 4-3 MAC matchup here. Next up, Tulane and North Texas. Give me the Green Wave.
Same.
Yeah, I'll take Tulane.
Arkansas and Mississippi State. You know who it's about. Give me the Bulldogs.
You know what's sad?
What?
I actually agree with you.
I'm picking them just to continue the meme, but I mean,
no, you don't understand. Mississippi State has been our kryptonite for a while now. And Mississippi State has a 1 win, and they've played fairly well against Georgia, and they played fairly well last week. Would not surprise me one bit if Mississippi State pulls this off.
Are you picking Mississippi State or Arkansas?
Mississippi State.
Okay.
Look, my emotions from this Arkansas team has completely drained, but I'm completely going based off of my picks. trying to maintain my top spot in the run your pool picks. So the week of the Tennessee game, I picked Tennessee to win. Arkansas won. Last week, I picked LSU to win.
LSU won.
LSU won. Arkansas lost because I was thinking of like, hey, if I pick the opposite team, maybe Arkansas will win. Let's keep it rolling. But that went off the rails last week. So this week, I am picking Arkansas to win. Take that with what you will.
All right, next up, Missouri and Alabama. Give me Bama.
I think Bama bounces back.
I don't know about that one, gentlemen. Alabama has looked depleted the last few weeks, and even though I know they played well against Tennessee for the most part, but also I don't think this Missouri team is that good anyways. It's the only reason I'm picking Bama to begin with, because I think Missouri's overrated.
All right, let's see. Kansas State. Give me K-State.
Yeah, Kansas State's more physical up front than what Kansas is. Kansas, I don't know what the heck happened to them, but they're back to the Kansas way.
Yeah, I think Jaden needs to contact his brother and try to get some insight what's going on down there, because Kansas is not what I thought they were going to be this year. So I'm going Kansas State.
All right, next up, LSU, Texas A&M. Give me LSU.
I will say this much. Texas A&M is LSU's kryptonite. Like, bad. Like, pretty bad kryptonite. I think LSU's more talented. I'm going to go with LSU, but my gut tells me Texas A&M.
Listen, I'll agree. LSU is a more talented team. But I'll give you two reasons why I'm going Texas A&M. Number one, it's in Kyle Field. Primetime game. Number two, I am all about chaos in the SEC. In order to do that, we need Texas A&M to win because the chaos ensues. Going the Aggies.
There you go. Well, if you want some chaos in the SEC, I got you. Texas and Vandy. Give me Vandy. Give me Vandy at home. Let's go. Let's go, Commodores.
I absolutely love it. I love the pick. I absolutely love the pick. Where's my jersey at? Oh, it's over there. Darn. I need my jersey for this pick. Give me the Commodores, baby. They upset Bama. They're going to beat Texas because they're a senior-led team. Screw Texas. Give me Vanderbilt.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Vandy.
Listen, I'm torn.
Come on, Shane. Do it.
Listen,
do it.
I'm torn. But I'll say this. I'm going Texas.
Oh.
But if Vandy wins, I will pick the only two relevant. I will buy a jersey of one of the two relevant Vanderbilt players that I know for the last 15 years or 20 years. So that's either Jay Cutler or Jordan Rogers. So if Vandy wins this game, I'll be buying one of those jerseys.
There you go.
But for right now, I am going to go with Texas.
All right, next up, we got an Ivy League matchup here. Both really good in the Ivy League right now. I think they're both undefeated in the Ivy League. One of these teams is undefeated. I think it was Dartmouth. And Columbia, I think, lost one game. I might get that mixed up. But we got Dartmouth and Columbia Ivy League matchup. I like Dartmouth here.
Yeah, you did get it mixed up. Dartmouth is undefeated.
Yeah, there we go.
Columbia does have one loss.
Yep.
Both of them have played fairly tough schedules. I will say that much. They have both played fairly tough schedules. And so it's at Columbia, though. That's the only thing, though. Usually Columbia plays pretty well at home. They've played a lot of road games this year. The ones they played at home, they do play much better. I'm going to go Columbia.
I'm also going Columbia.
All right, next up, we have one of the terrible game of the week picks that was put in. We have Texas A&M Commerce and Prairie View. Give me Texas A&M Commerce.
Yeah, Prairie View is absolute garbage dog nonsense. So is Texas A&M Commerce, but they're not as bad as Prairie View. Prairie View's, oh God, it's bad. They should be a Division III school at this point, if not close to NAI.
Listen, last time we had Texas A&M Commerce on our picks, I picked against them, and I said I would never pick a Texas A&M team to win. I've already picked Texas A&M, so I've already went back on my word.
Yep, you did.
But also, I just recently found out 3 weeks ago when we played Tennessee that our leading receiver is from Texas A&M Commerce. So, going Texas A&M Commerce.
There you go. Another terrible game of the week submission. We have Mississippi Valley State and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Give me UAPB because Valley State is terrible in every respect of the word terrible. They make this show look good.
I'm about to say, I'm about to say that's a good way to put it. UAPB barely beat Prairie View. Let's put that on there, and they're not even in the same conference. Yeah, Mississippi Valley State's an 0 right now, and here's the thing, it's homecoming for UAPB.
Yep, there you go.
I'm going UAPB.
Another Ivy League matchup here. Harvard, I'll tell you right now, boys, is balling out. Give me Harvard in this one. Princeton and Harvard. Give me Harvard at home. They are balling right now.
Yeah, Princeton's law. Let me look at Princeton's schedule because if I'm not mistaken, their losses have been fairly close. Nope, they got blown out by Mercer. But yeah, I think Harvard is going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm going Harvard.
Next up, Illinois and Oregon. Give me the Ducks, but this could be an interesting game for the Duckies, so might want to watch out.
Yeah, because Illinois' defense is actually they're not terrible.
Yep.
Unless they play against Purdue, and that's another story. I think Oregon's going to run all over them though.
Yeah, I think Brett Bielema's streak of having really good wins, which don't get me wrong, the win at Michigan was very impressive. I'm glad to see Brett's doing well back in the Big Ten.
Where he belongs.
Where he belongs and where he's had success.
Yep.
Unfortunately, his style doesn't fit the SEC, unfortunately for Razorback fans, but I think Oregon's is too much for them this week.
Let's see. Bowling Green, the team without green in their logo, and Toledo. Give me the Rockets.
Yep, give me Toledo.
Yeah, I'll go 3 for 3 Toledo.
Wake Forest and Stanford in a stupid ACC matchup. Give me Stanford, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Wake Forest barely beat Connecticut last week. I think Stanford's played a lot better this year than what I expected, and so I'll take Stanford.
Yeah, I'm going Stanford as well.
All right, let's see. Maryland, Minnesota.
This one's tough.
Yeah.
Maryland did beat USC last week, and I know that's not a lot, but Maryland has actually surprised me, and they only have one conference win, but they are going to Minnesota, and Minnesota does play very, very well at home. I picked a lot of home teams this week, but I cannot lean toward Maryland in this one.
I am actually going with Maryland for the fact that they did beat USC, and I love to see it. So go Terps.
Fuck the Terps. Give me the Golden Gophers.
That's insane. Fuck the Terps.
I just say that because of Brady in our NCAA 14 dynasty back in the day. Fuck Texas. Fuck the Terps. Fuck Georgia. Oklahoma State and Baylor. Give me Oklahoma State on this one.
Yeah, Baylor actually blew out Texas Tech last week at Texas Tech. They could, like I said, Baylor is. I think their record does not show how great of a team they really are. But Oklahoma State does need a good bounce back, and this would be a good win. It's going to be a close ball game, though.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys. Or the Baylor Tigers. Who knows?
Yeah, Baylor Tigers. William and Mary and Stony Brook.
So Stony Brook, the one matchup that I have seen, both of them barely beat. I'm trying to look who this is. Both of them barely beat Campbell, but Stony Brook beat the crap out of Townsend at Townsend, and William and Mary lost to Townsend. It'll be a good football game. Give me Stony Brook.
Give me Stony Brook as well. No, just give me Stony Brook. Yeah, give me Stony Brook.
Listen, growing up, me, my dad, and my brother, anytime that we were playing a cupcake or another team was playing a cupcake, we'd always say, I guess they're playing the William and Mary Blind School of the Deaf. So unfortunately, I cannot go with William and Mary. I am going Stony Brook.
Next up, we got... Do what?
I was about to say they're both ranked.
Let's see. Next up, we got New Hampshire and Villanova. Give me Villanova. That's the Wildcats, right?
Yep.
Yeah, give me the Wildcats.
Yeah, if this was at New Hampshire, I would probably pull the trigger on this one because New Hampshire's also very, very good. But Villanova is really good at home.
Listen, I'm going Villanova, but just based off of New Hampshire's logo, I almost picked them. I'm not gonna lie to you. Their logo is really good. I like that with that silver and or the gray and blue. But I'm going Villanova.
All right, Florida State, Miami. Give me Miami, but I'm scared.
Don't be scared. It's gonna be all right.
I'm a damaged fan.
Listen, give me Miami by the points, by the money line, and the over, all day, every day.
Next up, we got Michigan State and Michigan. Give me the Wolverines.
Yeah, I think Michigan's going to bounce back from this one. Michigan State's getting there, but they're not quite there.
Yeah, give me Michigan.
Penn State and Wisconsin. Give me Penn State.
I'm actually going to take Wisconsin here. Wisconsin's played very, very well in the last few weeks, and I think they're going to pull. I think I'm going to pull the trigger. I think they're going to take the upset.
I'm going Penn State. I just want to say I look forward to seeing Ricky's run the pool of seeing all yellow on the right side. So I'm going Penn State.
All right, next up, SMU and Duke. Shout out to Duke for beating Florida State. Their first time beating Florida State in history. Give me SMU.
Yeah,
You know
SMU's figured after their 1 week blunder, they've actually figured it out. Give me SMU.
Give me Duke. I think they feed off of Florida State's demise.
All right, next up, we got Nevada going to the islands of Hawaii. Give me Hawaii, because Hawaii can, for whatever reason, play well against Nevada, but can't play well against literally anybody else.
Listen,
That's very, very true.
if Hawaii is ever playing a mediocre team and it's at home in Hawaii, I will always give the advantage to Hawaii because that travel day is horrendous. That is a massive home field advantage Hawaii has, and for that reason, I'm going Hawaii.
Picking Nevada.
Fuck you. All right, next up.
Just so I can hear that. Just so I can hear that.
Fuck you. All right, next up, we got FCS Game of the Week. We got South Dakota heading over to South Dakota State. How are you guys feeling on this?
I feel very bad for whoever South Dakota State has to play because the last time they lost, I'm pretty sure their next game was a super blowout. But this is going to be a close. South Dakota State did drop in rankings to number 3. South Dakota is number 4. I'm going South Dakota State.
I'm going South Dakota. I like South Dakota here.
That's fair.
Can we please have like Dakota, South Dakota, South Dakota State, and North Dakota just all go to like the Sun Belt or like the American Conference, or just
Mountain
all 4
West.
of them go somewhere?
Mountain West.
'Cause I think all 4 of them deserve to be in a Division I conference, and I want to see them all play each other or continuously play together because they always put out banger after banger after banger. If you get it, you get it.
So what are you picking, Shane?
South Dakota State.
I'm the lone guy with South Dakota. All right. I see how it is. Next up, FBS Game of the Week. Honestly, a fun one. I saw you guys, a couple of you guys submit this one, and I jumped in on it too. I like this one. Let's do it. Notre Dame and Navy. I love this. This is going to be a hard-nosed football game right here.
Yeah, and hopefully Navy will expose the overratedness that Notre Dame actually is. I'm picking Navy, not because I think Navy's a better team, but I really, really, really hope that for the first time, I think in history, if this ever happens, and the schedules are tough between both of them, I want Navy and Army to be undefeated when they play each other.
Yeah, I really like. I think it's Navy. Their head coach has stuck to the traditional offense that we see with the triple option, but he's also done enough to keep up with today's day and age in offense. What he's doing on the offensive side of the ball, I saw Nick Saban break it down on College Game Day this past week. I absolutely love it. And Notre Dame, don't get me wrong, has a great defense. That's probably the only bright spot on their team this year. I love this head-to-head matchup. But because offense is what brings tickets in, We all love to see a good offense. I'm going Navy.
I'm going Navy as well. I like Navy in this game, man. I think Notre Dame's overrated as hell. I've thought that when the season kicked off. Give me Navy on this one. I like it. All right, next up, and finally, the terrible game of the week. We got a Mountain West matchup here. Both of these teams only one win, trying to fight for their second. At least I think that's right. We got Utah State and the Wyoming Cowboys. I don't even know where to lean on this one. Both these teams are hot garbage.
Yeah, both of them are. Let me see here. I think Wyoming is favored by 1.5.
Yeah, I see that. So at least Wyoming's won one game in conference. So I got a shout out to that. Wyoming is just overall favored. Oh God, but man, both these teams just stink. Like, all right,
Yeah,
so
here's the reason why I'm gonna pick Wyoming. I'm gonna pick Wyoming not because they're at home, but their defense is so much better than what Utah State is. Utah State has given up 50, 50, 62, 45, and 38 just in the last 5 games.
I see that. Yeah.
You know what? I did originally have Utah State winning in my pick, but I'm glad I went back and edited it because their interim head coach currently is Nate Drilling. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that wrong or right, whatever you want to say. But he doesn't have the greatest track record. 2021, he is defensive coordinator for Southeast Missouri State. 2022 and 2023 is the defense coordinator of New Mexico State, which we know how that went. And then now 2024, he is the interim head coach and defensive ends coach for the Utah State Aggies. Not a great track record, brother. So for that instance, I am switching my pick from Utah to the Wyoming Cowboys.
Yeah, give me
also-
Wyoming on this too. I feel like Utah
you
State's
also-
offense is a little bit better, but everything else is just oof.
Yeah, I think with them dismissing Blake Anderson the way they did, I think this team's completely depleted and given up.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our picks for the week. We have just hit a 2-hour show, so let's go ahead and get things wrapped up, boys. Anything else you guys want to shout out real quick before I'm hitting the music now? Anything you guys want to shout out before we end the show?
Yes, Harding lost their first game of this season. Ouachita Baptist beat them last week.
Shout out to that.
I saw that.
Also, talking on Division II level, shout out to my wife's little brother. He is the only freshman on defense still on the team, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, everyone else got kicked
Shout
off.
out.
Everyone else got kicked off for grades, apparently.
Oh wow.
I swear. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's bad.
Apparently, he's got straight A's. And when she told me that, I'm like, "Is this the same? Is this the same kid?" Shout out, man. That's awesome. His birthday is actually this Thursday, so happy early birthday to him.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, shout out, man. Although you see him, man, they got a road. They got a road to climb. You know what I mean? They are 4-3 right now.
One more thing. Our wrestling benefit show is this coming Saturday. So
Shout
if
out.
boys have nothing else better to do, y'all come down to Whitehall High School. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Show will start at 6.
Shout out.
I will be there. But I don't get off work until 5, so I'm going to be a little late. Because I'll have to drive back into town to change clothes and head that way. So.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it because I actually have guests this Saturday. My 2 out-of-state friends from the Orlando area are going to be here.
Bring them down. I'm going to be in a match for crying out loud. There's your spoiler.
You're going to be in a match? You're wrestling?
Yes.
Oh man, not reffing
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna have to see the video of this. I want to see your signature and your finisher. I can't wait. There's gonna be a video, right?
I don't know.
I'll videotape it. I got you.
Appreciate
I
you.
got you, Alex.
I appreciate you.
I will say, hey, you need to talk to your girl's brother and maybe have him on as a guest one show. Maybe
I
during
agree.
the off season.
I agree.
I would love to get his thoughts on defenses
Yep.
and what he sees out there and kind of see where his mind's at. So.
I would also love him to beat your ass in fantasy this week. So shout out to that.
Not gonna happen.
I'm hoping.
Is he the one I is?
Yeah.
You
two are playing each other.
Okay.
So.
Well, I look forward for him not winning that because that's not gonna happen.
Relax.
7-0, boys. I have not lost a fantasy game since like last January, February. So please, hop off my nuts.
Please fucking relax before I break your trophy up here. All right. I haven't even got you your other one yet because I'm lazy. I'll get it eventually.
Listen,
I promise. I always do.
Just with the next trophy, just make sure you have 3 there because it's gonna be I'm the Kansas City Chiefs. It's gonna be a 3-peat.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, buddy. We got a long rest of the season. But anyway, make sure to do all the things that normal people say to do with the description. Our sponsors, Rogue Energy and Agent Inc. Join the Discord. Check out the Patreon. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Remember, we almost got sued. Can you say that about your other favorite shows? Probably not. Until next time, hopefully you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the weekend of football. Goodbye.